Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today, and joining me now is Craig Von Stein, and Craig is the Equipment Division Manager for Dye Real Estate and Land Company. We're at the beautiful Montgomery Farm outside of Bluffton, Ohio, standing in front of this John Deere 8410T, one of several items that are going to be part of an incredible equipment auction, Craig, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, we've got a great opportunity to work with some area farmers here. We've got 3 farmers that are retiring. One of them here is the Montgomerys outside of Bluffton, Ohio. We got several pieces consigned from really all over several counties, but we got a chance to sell them all here July 14th at our live virtual sale in Ottawa, Ohio.
Now, this is something that's very unique, or basically new to the Dye Real Estate and Land Company. And when we talk about equipment auctions, he's had a couple in the past, but now this is going to be an ongoing thing with the opportunity of being able to buy and sell equipment through this particular division with Dye Real Estate and Land Company. So when we talk about this particular auction, where are we getting most of the equipment from?
Well, there's a large bulk of it's coming from some retiring farmers in the area. We've got 3. We've got the Montgomerys here in Bluffton. We've got the Moorhead Farms west of Findlay, and we got the Ernest Farm south of Beaver Dam. And they were able to base this sale around them. And so we opened it up to some other consignments in the area, and we've had a great response from that. So now we have over 100 pieces in this sale that will sell in July.
As we move forward with the equipment sales and the auctions, how far out are we looking from Northwest and West Central Ohio? How far are we going from there?
We got stuff as far south as Sydney, Ohio.
Oh, wow. That's great.
But I would say the bulk of it is here in Hancock, Allen, Putnam, Hardin County.
Let's talk specifically about some of the equipment. This is just one of incredibly good-looking pieces of equipment that somebody could take back to their farm.
Yeah, this is a beautiful 2001 John Deere 8410T with 5,900 hours. Really nice tractor, well kept. The whole lineup that Montgomerys have here is some very nice equipment, but we've got a mix of things through this whole sale. Big tractors, little tractors, tillage, trucks and trailers. Some of the other key pieces we have tractor-wise is we've got a 7240 Magnum with about 5,900 hours. We've got an 8930 Magnum. Wow. We've even got a JX75 case loader tractor that's only got 722 hours on it. But we got some really nice tillage pieces. We really got the whole lineup here.
You know, it's one of the things that I think a lot of producers are looking for is being able to maintain that profitability. And through an auction like this, instead of buying new, sometimes you can't afford it. This is just a great way to pick up some excellent used equipment, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some different times that we're in with the farm economy, but the needs of the farm still continue. And so we got a chance to showcase some of the equipment here. And we've had a great response from some area farmers where they can come look at these pieces ahead of the sale, see what's going to fit their operation, and make some good buys on some pieces that will move their farm forward.
You know, Craig, we've had you on our podcast already. Talk a little bit about your background and where you grew up.
I'm from the area though here. I'm just a few miles east of here, outside of Bluffton, but nice. Grew up in ag my whole life. Went to Ohio State, worked for another auction company outside of college, and then I've been in the ag career ever since. So ag finance, ag tech. Got a chance to make a full circle here and come back to the auction business.
And equipment-wise, I mean, you've had that hands-on experience that our producers and the people who are buying and selling equipment really need to have, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these machines out here, I've had first-hand experience of either running them on our own farm, or I've sold some of these pieces when I was at the equipment dealership myself. And so that does tend to lend me a little bit of an advantage on how these pieces should behave, how they should be conditioned, what things are right and wrong for them. And that goes for our whole team. We've got some other folks on our team. Austin Hefner is one of our equipment specialists that knows this stuff really well inside and out. And so we try to use that to best represent and to showcases the pieces that we have for the farmers to make those right decisions, for the equipment on their farm.
And I think that's really important, making sure you have the experience and you have the credibility backed behind that equipment to make sure that our producers are getting quality pieces, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want to showcase the right things that are here, but this whole lineup is all some really nice high-quality pieces. Again, most of it's coming from some retiring farmers, so they're not selling this because it's broken. They're just selling it because they don't need it anymore, right? So it's a good chance for some other people to pick these things up and add them to their fleet.
Let's talk about the date and times again.
July 14th, 11 a.m. The sale will be at Ottawa, Ohio, at the Putnam County Fairgrounds in that beautiful new building that they've got there.
Yeah.
It is a live virtual sale, meaning it's a live sale. You can come bid in person. However, the equipment will be represented virtually. So this tractor will not be over there at the sale on sale day. However, if you want to see it, we can certainly get you out to the farm to see these in person ahead of time.
Yeah, get your hands on it. Like most farmers, it's always a touchy-feely kind of thing when it comes to their equipment. So giving you a call and getting in touch with you so you can get behind it or maybe even test drive it, but make sure you get your hands on it before the auction, right?
Yeah, come see it, drive it, test it. You know, anything that you need to do to feel comfortable and confident in those bids, we want to make sure we can do that for you.
And Craig, moving forward too, after this event, you know, people want to know that, hey, if I'm at that point in life where I'm trying to move forward with the farm, maybe the family doesn't want to continue farming, you're a great resource to come and evaluate their equipment and give them an idea of what they have there if they want to use you and go through you for either an auction or a onesie-twosie kind of sale, right?
Yeah, we've got several ways to sell equipment through auction, either consignment sale like this, a single seller kind of retirement type full liquidation, or we can do piece by piece online only sales. And then the appraisal part is a piece that we do as well, to give people that third party opinion of what is my stuff worth, right? We have a fleet that maybe the family needs that number for the decision of the estate or the trust, but we can come and give you that valuation, that full line of appraisal, so you know what you have and what you can do to make decisions on that.
And Craig, if they want to get a hold of you or talk a little bit more with you about what they have, how do they get a hold of you?
Best place would be check out our website, dierealestate.com. All of our information's on there. You can get a hold of me or send us an email.
And that date again?
July 14th, Ottawa, Ohio, 11 a.m.
And we hope to see you there. Once again, for more information, check them out on the web at dierealestate.com, or you can go to our website and we'll have a link to their site as well at inohiocountry.com. We'll be back with more In Ohio Country today, right after this.
Get your equipment ready for the Dye Real Estate and Land Company Equipment Consignment Auction, July 14th at the Putnam County Fairgrounds in Ottawa. At Dye Real Estate and Land Company, we connect sellers with buyers to help ensure you get the best deals. So mark your calendar and join us July 14th at the Putnam County Fairgrounds in Ottawa for the Dye Real Estate and Land Company Equipment Consignment Auction. For more information, go to dyerealestate.com. That's dyerealestate.com. Your outdoor fun starts here at Dad's Toy Shop. See us today for all of your favorite remote control land, air, and watercraft, and so much more. Dad's Toy Shop in downtown Wapakoneta is your one-stop shop for all of your hobby needs. Enjoy great news and even better deals at Apple Farm Service. Right now, get 0% financing for 48 months on all new Kuhn equipment. From Kuhn Knight spreaders to Kuhn Kraus tillage and everything in between, Kuhn has the tools you need to get the job done right. Built for performance and reliability, it's equipment you can count on. Stop by your local Apple Farm Service or learn more online at applefarmservice.com/Kuhn. Rodot Leasing Sales and Service is your place for Wilson Livestock Trailers. Wilson builds reliable, lightweight, and corrosion-resistant aluminum livestock trailers. Wilson is known for their attention to animal and operator safety, as well as the best in biosecurity. Wilson delivers your best value and your lowest cost of operation. Rodot is your home for Wilson Livestock Trailers. Call Rodot Leasing Sales and Service today. Learn more at rodot.com. You don't want to miss the 2026 Dye Real Estate and Land Company Land Expo, Tuesday, July 28th at the Howard Johnson in Lima, Ohio. It's designed for landowners, farmers, investors, and industry professionals looking to stay ahead in today's evolving agricultural landscape. This year's event brings together industry experts to cover key topics impacting farmland ownership, investment, and long-term planning. It's the Dye Real Estate 2026 Land Expo. Register today by going to dyerealestate.com. That's dyerealestate.com. Allen Davis Insurance Agency, your solutions provider in Wapakoneta, Lima, and Minster. Allen is a business owner and an active farmer. Trust Allen Davis Insurance Agency for auto, home, life, commercial, and total farm protection. For more information, check us out on the web at allendavisinsurance.com. Welcome back to In Ohio Country today, and joining me now is Jane Fife. We're here today to talk about biologicals and what it means to our ag community. You've done a lot of research. You're actively involved in that particular area. And before we get to that point of expertise, let's talk a little bit about your background, where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up in Central Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio. Went to school at Ohio State. Did my undergrad and graduate work there in agricultural engineering.
Now you're currently an owner of a business. Let's talk about that business venture you're in.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I just founded a company called Monarch Ag, and we're focused on developing the best biological products that we can and integrating them into what I will call a biologically driven agronomic system. So excited to start to think about what's next in this space.
Well, let's talk about this space. Let's talk about biologicals and how it applies, if you will, excuse the pun, or pun intended, I should say, with agriculture.
Sure. Biologicals have been products that have been around for a while, but I think what we're seeing now is the ability to put different products together and have a bigger impact and do it in a way with better application and delivery techniques so that it is part of more of a systems approach. And thinking about it more in how we can, not replace chemistry, but enable more efficiency, especially in the fertility side and in nutrient use. And I think you're seeing more research in this area coming to fruition. But to move the needle, we need products that work, that are viable, that together kind of stack together as products can do more than one product by itself. So I'm really excited to be working in this space to kind of move the needle, if you will, especially around nutrient use management. We kind of have to think about it a little bit differently. Even we're helping make what we're already used to applying work more efficiently. And now more than ever, we need, farmers need the ability to increase their ROI. And I will say biologicals, I feel like, have always been kind of what could be added. And I think we need to shift and say, okay, we've got what we're already doing, and we can maybe change what we're doing a little bit, especially with the amount of nitrogen and phosphorus in particular that we're putting down. But if we can make what's there more efficient, and it's really the biology in the soil that is where that efficiency comes from. And there's other biologicals that really help with abiotic stress. And we know abiotic stress is a huge yield taker. And so if you can make your cropping system more resilient to those climatic variations that you're going to see, then that allows you to kind of de-risk potentially by using these products. So there is advantages year over year to having them be part of your normal routine and normal practice.
So when you look at these biologicals, is there a chance for customization to the soils? Because we're so diverse here in the Buckeye State. You need to have that opportunity. So let's talk about that customization of those biologicals.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this has been one of the biggest barriers, maybe from a retail perspective, right? We've been trying to apply the same things everywhere. And one of the things you have to understand is context is very important, particularly with biologicals, whether it's the soil type, even temperature, moisture, pH, all those things matter. And so understanding, you may be applying a product that you don't really need, depending on your soil chemistry levels and so forth. So it's really important to consider the context. What we haven't completely gotten to is the ability to prescribe or make recommendations. And I think that's, one of the things that is being worked on. We're working on it so that you can customize. So the soil tests, and including that understanding of what the biology is doing is important to this equation of being able to customize what you're using. So soil tests in general, soil health, I think farmers are thinking about, what data do they need to be able to better understand the context piece and what biological products may be helpful.
Our farmers are always looking for that ROI that you mentioned, that return on investment. So what do biologicals, or what can they potentially replace when it comes to making sure they get their seed on the ground and they get a good return on their investment with a healthy crop?
Nitrogen's talked about a lot. Right now it's front and center with the prices going up. And you can't get away from that. There's been research done, and there needs to be more research done, but, the ability to at least reduce some of the nitrogen, I've heard, anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds potentially with the use of nitrogen-fixing bacteria, nitrogen fixing products. That's possible. There's certainly products that have been on the market for a few years, continue to be used. But I think, understanding just really the nutrient cycling that's happening in the soil that allows, phosphorus to be made more available, placement of both the nutrients and making sure the microbes are there in the root system. All of that's really important for the system to work. And it unlocks the nutrients and helps with the nutrient cycling so that you can have a more efficient system. So if you can start to come down in the amounts of fertilizer, and that's hard. That's really hard for farmers. You have to de-risk.
It's a tough sell.
It's a tough sell. And so that's part of what I think research is going to help. We're seeing some of that come through, I would say, largely industry. Research and looking at how much can we come down from nitrogen applications, phosphorus. If you have a lot of legacy phosphorus, can you unlock it with more microbial activity? So those are things that I know farmers want to see data. They want proof, and that proof is coming. Some of it's already here, but it can. I think there is a psychological aspect of de-risking this too, that we have to, through education, more education, better education, and data, and showing that the use of these products can help at least start to reduce some of the nutrient amounts that are being used. So,
and a lot of that too can help in a number of different ways, not only improving the quality of the crop, but as we mentioned, maybe improving our waterways. There have been some studies and some tests, as you mentioned prior to our interview, of ways that can help clean up the Western Lake Erie watershed or the Maumee River watershed when it comes to algae blooms. So let's talk about that benefit as well.
Yeah, and certainly the ability to, by lessening the amount of chemical fertilizers we're using, but doing it in a way that allows for a good ROI and working toward maintaining yield. That helps with water quality. We've gotten with monocultures, and you get into some of your best practices for water quality. Having more diversity in cropping systems helps that soil biology. Cover crops, trying to promote good soil health. Those practices, those best management practices are really important. And part of that is lessening, getting to a place where we can lessen the chemical fertility that we need, and that's where the biological activity can certainly help. But also, and this is something that doesn't get talked about as much, that can definitely support better water quality, but improving the nutrient density in grain and other food crops. There's demonstrated research that shows, using biologicals in the right micronutrients. It's an all together. You need good micronutrients there, in addition to NPK. But with that biological activity and including inoculants, biological products, you can improve the uptake of certain micronutrients through that biological activity, and that allows for better nutrient density in like I said, in grains and other food crops, and that's a win-win. So you start to get into, one medicine. How can we have more healthy food? This is part of it. This is part of that solution. So that's where I get really excited. Is we haven't even really started to really show that value. So value add for the farmer and hopefully what they can take to market, and creating those markets is really important. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, there is. And what makes it even more exciting, again, by improving the quality of the grain that's being harvested and using that grain for our livestock or using it for food and fiber, increases the value of that crop and the benefit of that crop to however it's being used. Yeah. And that's truly exciting.
That is exciting. And one thing that we want to continue to promote, the education, helping de-risk our ag systems, continuing to do that, and the ability to have value add in our commodity crops, right? How can we get more of that to the farmer? So,
Jane Fife has been our guest. Jane, let's give that name of your company again and what you're doing there.
yeah, Monarch Ag is the name of the company, and working to improve biological products being produced.
If people want more information about you and what you do and your company, where do they go?
Probably the best place is LinkedIn right now. I don't have a website, but you can find me on LinkedIn just under my name. So.
Jane Fife has been our guest, and we've been talking about biologicals, and we'll try to have more information for you at our website at inohiocountry.com. Jane, thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks so much, Dan.
And we'll be back with more In Ohio Country today, right after this.
Get your equipment ready for the Dye Real Estate and Land Company Equipment Consignment Auction, July 14th at the Putnam County Fairgrounds in Ottawa. At Dye Real Estate and Land Company, we connect sellers with buyers to help ensure you get the best deals. So mark your calendar and join us July 14th at the Putnam County Fairgrounds in Ottawa for the Dye Real Estate and Land Company Equipment Consignment Auction. For more information, go to dyerealestate.com. That's dyerealestate.com. When your day demands versatility, you need a tractor that can keep up. Case IH Utility and the Vestrum Series tractors are built to handle a wide range of jobs around the farm, from loader work to field tasks and everything in between. Right now at Apple Farm Service, take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months or get low-rate special financing. Stop in today or visit applefarmservice.com/Case IH. Your outdoor fun starts here at Dad's Toy Shop. See us today for all of your favorite remote control land, air, and watercraft, and so much more. Dad's Toy Shop in downtown Wapakoneta is your one-stop shop for all of your hobby needs. The SureTrack heavy-duty low-profile dump trailer is engineered for professionals who demand the highest level of strength, versatility, and efficiency. And Rodock Leasing Sales and Service is your place for your next SureTrack dump trailer. Available in multiple configurations, tailored to fit your specific needs, and built for heavy-duty tasks. This trailer delivers top-tier performance, helping you get the job done right every time. Call Rodock Leasing Sales and Service today, your source for SureTrack dump trailers. Learn more at rodock.com.
Hello once again, everybody. Reporting from the Conservation Tillage and Technology Conference, the 34th at Ohio Northern University. We're visiting with Jake Wilsey. And Jake, you're talking about manure application and what we can do to enhance the positives and reduce the negatives. Can you fill us in a little bit about the project that you did?
Yeah, you got it. So, like you said, my name's Jake Wilsey. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I went to Michigan State University and studied biosystems engineering there, and I did a little work with anaerobic digestion and manure management there. And then I went on for a master's at Iowa State University, where I studied under Dr. Dan Anderson, or Dr. Manure. And so there I specialized in manure application timing. And that's a little bit of what I'll be talking about today. Now I'm working with a company in Grand Rapids, CJD Farm Consulting. And that company will write nutrient management plans for farms. We'll get into manure storage, design and evaluation a little bit, and permitting and compliance for CAFOs, and just a wide variety of topics for animal agriculture out there. But today I'll be talking more about my research at Iowa State. And so that research was really looking at manure application timing and how it affects your nitrogen in the soil and where that's going and what's happening to it, and methane emissions coming from your manure storage.
Of course, the methane is something that we want to reduce.
Correct. Yeah, methane, it's a greenhouse gas, potent greenhouse gas, about 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So we want to be able to limit that as much as we can. But so nitrogen, first of all, that's another one that we want to limit those losses, because we'll have negative consequences for water if we're leaching it out of the soil. Sometimes you can lose it to the atmosphere as nitrous oxide, and that's also a potent greenhouse gas, over 200 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So if we can limit those loss pathways as much as possible, then we're going to be better off for keeping that nitrogen in the soil where we want it for crop uptake. So one of the keys to that is timing. If you look at a fall application versus a spring application of manure, where in Iowa we tend to have a lot of fall application because that's what the crop that's the fields are dry. It's post-harvest, so the schedules are a little easier. But when you're doing that, it's you have a challenge with it's sitting in the field for so long. You have winter snow, you have spring rains, and through all of that, you're going to be losing a lot of that out of the soil by the time spring comes around and you're planting. Now, if you apply in the spring, you're really limiting that time in between of while it's sitting in the field. So if you can do that, you're leaving more of that available for crop uptake, and you're not going to be losing it to your water where it could get into where you could get eutrophication problems from algae growth, fish kills, and all those bad things that we tend to see. Now, in terms of methane, we see a similar effect, but in a different way. So methane emissions are really driven by the temperature of your manure and the amount of manure you have stored. So what we're really trying to do by shifting that application timing is affecting what time of year is your manure storage getting the fullest. So in a fall application, you're empty in the fall, and then as you start building up towards the summer, the weather gets hotter, and your pits are full. So then you have this bad combination of these two things where you see huge spikes in methane emissions throughout the summer. If we're able to shift that into a spring or a summer application where you empty your pits right before it gets hot outside, even though the manure might be hot in those pits, now you're not going to be releasing as much methane just because you're not storing as much. And then once it's more full during the winter, then now it's cold outside. So again, you're seeing benefits there.
Jake, are those two goals, are they easy to accomplish together at the same time, or is that something that's very difficult?
Well, the two kind of go hand in hand. If you can shift to a spring application, it's a double-edged sword of benefits, I guess. But the difficulty is actually getting to shift to the spring. So we see a lot of wet springs. Out in Iowa, we see that. In Michigan, and I'm sure here you guys see wet springs too. And so trying to get out into your field, plant your crops, spread your manure, do a tillage operation if you want to do that. Doing all these different things at the same time, it's going to be difficult. So sometimes weather permitting, weather is not going to permit it. And that's where the difficulty comes in. So we need to, that was really one of the next steps that I wanted to research at Iowa State, was to look at the risk of shifting everything to a spring application. And maybe that's too risky. So then we started looking at maybe you can do a fall and a spring split application. There you have the safety of the fall application where you're getting it out there while you still have the benefits of a spring application.
All right. Now, we would remind everybody that your presentation, like all the other presentations, are being recorded. So those listeners looking now can go to the website, the CTTC website, and you'll be directed toward your presentation, and they can get a lot more details than what we've given right here.
Correct. You got it. Thank you.
So do that, everybody. We've been visiting with Jake Wilsey of Grand Rapids. And Jake, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And stay with us, back with more when we continue within Ohio Country today.
You don't want to miss the 2026 Dye Real Estate Land Company Land Expo, Tuesday, July 28th at the Howard Johnson in Lima, Ohio. It's designed for landowners, farmers, investors, and industry professionals looking to stay ahead in today's evolving agricultural landscape. This year's event brings together industry experts to cover key topics impacting farmland ownership, investment, and long-term planning. It's the Dye Real Estate 2026 Land Expo. Register today by going to dyerealestate.com. That's dyerealestate.com.
Hey, that's going to do it for this week's edition of In Ohio Country Today. For more information about our TV show, our podcast, our YouTube channel, our iHeartMedia Ag Network, check us out on the web at inohiocountry.com. Have a good day, everybody.